People come to the Flinders Ranges for these amazing mountains, which are millenniums old. They're fantastic, spectacular things. But what really gets me when I come to this place, Ron, is driving through these gorges, which have been forged through the mountains over millions of years.
Yep, or formed by water, and we've just got to drop down into Bungaroo Gorge and then through Bracho Gorge. Fantastic drive, one of the best ones in Australia.
Yeah, the terrain's always changing, it's always challenging, it's good fun. Let's get back on the track.
Yep, okay, let's do it.
Good to be back on the road again, Ron. It's bloody dusty out here though.
Yeah, mate, but we've got some more adventures to come.
Yeah, heading into a few gorges on private properties now, are we?
Yeah, well, first we'll head over to Bungaroo and Bracho, that beautiful drive through the Hyson Range, just magic, and then we'll head up to some private property, mate. Should be really good, although we started off on a high, so we got to keep the standard up, eh?
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to go to new places too. I've been to Bracho before, but I haven't been up to Warrawena yet, so that'll be good.
Yeah, no, Warrawena's great, mate, and then we've got a few other places after that, so let's go.
Keep on trucking, mate.
I don't know how many times I've done this drive through Bungaroo and Bracho Gorges, but it never ceases to amaze me. You will be too. Douglas Mawson, the great geologist and Antarctic explorer, described these mountains as the bones of nature laid bare. And it doesn't come any better than travelling through Bracho Gorge. You actually become a time traveller through about 550 million years ago to about 650 million years ago when life appeared on Earth. And in these rocks, you can actually see some primitive or fossils of primitive life forms. Just fantastic. And after you've finished admiring these ancient forms of life, leave the rocks where you found them so others can enjoy them. We headed back through the ranges. You normally dodge a few roos through here, especially in the early morning and evening, to meet up with a good friend of ours who knows the Flinders better than anyone else I know. So Keith, we're at this beautiful old homestead of old Willpina. Fabulous setting, great grounds. Tell us a little bit of history of this place.
Well, Willpina Homestead, the main homestead for Willpina Station, which in the old days was a couple of thousand square miles.
Yeah.
Hence you've got all this outstation stuff because it was a big centre for the 2,000 square mile property. Was the main headquarters for Willpina Station, probably 100 odd people here.
Wow.
Back until the turn of last century.
Yep.
And
so when did National Parks take it over?
National Parks came into Willpina Station in about 1984 or 1985.
Okay.
So it's 30 odd years ago.
Okay. But you were here a long time before that. So what's your history here? You've been a mover and shaker here for a long time.
Not me really. The old man was the mover and shaker. Dad was born at Carrollton, about 160 k's south of here.
Yep.
Loved the Flinders, loved people. Yep. Got into tourism in the 1950s, early 1950s. So we settled at what is now the Willpina Pound Tourist Resort.
Yeah.
I mean, the only involvement we had with Willpina Station was we used to help them here.
Yeah. And chase the girls.
And the owner had a couple of daughters about our age, so in the late 50s, early 60s, communications weren't that good, roads weren't that good, so we spent a fair bit of time over here.
Okay.
As you would think,
yeah. So you established Willpina?
Well, Dad did. Well, Dad came there. Tourism was coming into the Flinders in the 1930s.
Yeah.
But there was no real base. The towns had hotels where people stayed, so Dad identified Willpina as a place that you could develop tourism.
Yeah.
I mean, in those days, you know, everyone was a bit nervous of change, so the pastoralists didn't really want it, but he stuck to his dreams.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, the Willpina resort that you see today sort of evolved from about early 1950s to what you see today, which is world-class facilities right through the Flinders, really.
Yeah. There is so many station stays and homesteads and just four-wheel drive tracks. And
well, it's wonderful. I mean, and it's been a saviour for people, you know, for the population in this, well, in all these outback areas.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the early 50s, I remember Dad coming home one night and saying that he'd been to a stock owners meeting in one of the towns, and blokes he'd grown up with had told him to take his family and his tourists and bugger off because they were nervous of what tourism might bring. But as you can see today, without it, there wouldn't be many people living in this country.
Yeah. Now, there's that famous ad your dad was in the Ford Fairlane, wasn't
it? He was on an aeroplane one day and some bloke was sitting next to him in, I don't know, in the late 60s, early 70s or something, and they were talking. He was talking about wanting to do an ad with the Ford Fairlane.
Yep.
And Kevin just said to him, well, I happen to drive one. And there was a relationship with Ford and the Flinders Rangers, or especially around Willpina, probably for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
Both television ads, print ads.
Yeah. And that beautiful drive, which we done this morning down into Bunya
through the Bunya, through what we call the Razorback.
Yeah.
Magnificent, isn't it? With the pound as a backdrop. It's stunning.
One of the best drives in Australia, as I've said before. Just fantastic. So have you seen it, this drive, before?
You know, they've had some pretty dry times over the years, and this one's just the one that's tipped them over the edge. But of course, there's still plenty of good stuff around.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks very much, mate. Been
Ron,
great meeting up with you again.
It's
I've got to have a
nice to
beer
see
with you
again.
another
It's
time.
beautiful. I mean, it's always a pleasure to see you in this country because I know how much you enjoy it.
From Willpina, we headed north and took to the dirt to the near deserted old historic township of Beltana, set up to service the mines in the area. The Reverend John Flynn, founder of the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the Australian Inland Mission, it was while living and working in Beltana, the Reverend John Flynn realised the need for an air service and a medical service. He helped form the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the Australian Inland Mission, and it all started in this small outback town. From Beltana, it's just a short drive to Warrawina Station and its many hidden delights, which includes the old mine and smelting site of Sliding Rock. It's almost impossible to imagine that in this dry and barren land, that here, this mine failed because there was too much water. This is Sliding Rock. It was discovered in 1869, big copper mob, and the mine soon started. But by 1877, there was so much water flowing into the mine they could not keep it out, and it failed. Beltana had been established to service this town and this mine, but with the closing of the mine, they all started to shut down. When Lee Creek coal mine started, would you believe there was so much water in this mine that they pumped it to Lee Creek to service that new township in the 1950s. Like all the old mining towns dotted across remote Australia, you'll find forlorn, near-forgotten cemeteries that tell of the hardships of living and working in these remote areas.
MSA 4x4 Accessories is synonymous for its canvas interior products. Heavy-duty seat covers, seat back organisers, lumbar supports, all good stuff to protect the inside of your car. But in more recent times, the company has brought its quality products to the back of the vehicle with these innovative storage solutions. Fridge slides, drop-down fridge slides, and the all-new roller drawer systems. We love the fridge slides for their quality finishes, simple designs, and ease of use. It's just simply a matter of unlocking it there, hit the release, slide out smoothly, and lower it down to a workable height. Then anyone, no matter how short or tall, can reach in, get whatever they want out. Easy access. Getting your fridge back into the vehicle again, Just pull the lever over, it all goes up on gas struts, smooth and easy. Hit the release, slide it back in and lock into place. Couldn't be any easier. The most recent product of the MSA catalogue is its new aluminium storage drawers. Now there are plenty of drawers out there, but these are different. They've just gone that extra level to make them more functional than ever. Lightweight aluminium construction, ease of use, quality fittings again, just like the fridge slide. And you can see the way it's come all the way out. There's not many drawers on the market that will do that. I could jump in there and stand on it. There's plenty of strength in it. They use these nice big rollers rather than the individual little loose ball runners. And you've got plenty of dust in the back of this ute. It is a ute, not a wagon. You can't avoid that. You're not going to get any dust into these drawers. Look, there's none of it in the back of here. It's all in the back of the ute. They've even gone to the extent of putting these LED lights inside here, which light up to make it easier to see stuff at night. Firmly in place there when it's fully out. Give it a push, runs in and locks securely in there. It's not going to move anywhere. Another thing I love about the MSA drawers is the fact that they've been crash tested. Now, I don't know of any other company that's done that. MSA had an independent company build a test rig where they put basically this setup with the drawers, a fridge slide in the fridge cage with a fridge on there. It was set up for a Toyota Prado. Put that on a test rig and crashed it into a wall. And the thing didn't move, so it meets all the Australian standards. Now, when you think about someone sitting in front of this unit in a wagon, that's good to know, reassuring for your family.
We spoke to Stoney, the manager here on Warrarena, which is a private conservation reserve, about the best tracks in the area, and he soon had us convinced we shouldn't miss out on the track to Mount Gill, which takes you out past Cockatoo Hut. What a drive! Cockatoo Hut, what a cracker! Situated just above the junction of a couple of creeks, this would make an ideal spot to throw down the swag for the night or even longer. Like many such places you'll find amongst these rugged dry ranges, these huts were first established by shepherds and stockmen looking after their mobs of cattle and sheep. Then they became the site of mustering camps and more recently a place for travellers to spend a while and enjoy the ambience and majesty of the ranges. Like a lot of the tracks in the Flinders Ranges, this one follows a normally dry creek bed deeper and deeper into the hills, and you need to be aware of your wheel placement all the time to help save your tyres. Then we leave the creek and begin the slow, long climb up the edge of the hills through stands of native pine to the long ridge which leads to the crest of Mount Gill. We're standing on Mount Gill in the Warrarena Private Conservation Park. It's a fabulous four-wheel drive destination, great camping, some fabulous four-wheel drive tracks. In fact, the track to this spot some say is the best in the Flinders Ranges, and I've got to say I ain't going to argue with that. It is fantastic, technical in parts, slow and steady, pretty easy to get through, but it is fantastic with fabulous views, and you get this long ridge run right up to the top of Mount Gill. It is just absolutely superb. From here we can see the walls of Willpina Pound directly to the south. Patawata Hills just poking its nose up above the ridge line over there. Far to the west is Lake Torrens, Mount Deception and Mount Northwest way to the on the horizon, both named by Eyre in his 1840 expedition when he thought Lake Torrens formed a complete circle around the top of the mountains. It is a fantastic view. From Warrawena, we plotted our course to the Natarawarrina Indigenous Protected Area, east of the small township of Copley and its famous Lee Creek Hotel. This is bloody remote country out here, so you need to be well set up to enjoy the tracks and the camping. And take water with you whenever you leave the vehicle, even if it's just a short walk like we are doing here. What a beautiful surprise this is. Clear running water in such a dry and barren land. The road into here is pretty good really, but there's big patches of bull dust. Man, oh man, but this is so different. Beautiful. We're in the Natarawarrina Indigenous Protected Area. It's the first IPA established in Australia and it's been replicated all over Australia now. It's fantastic. Local Aboriginal people who care for the land, look after the land, and allow us people to come in and visit the place. I mean, it's just fantastic. Aboriginal rangers come through, maintaining the tracks, building a few little facilities, and generally caring for the place and looking after it. It's a really, really good idea. And here we are at Big Morrow, in Bracho Gorge. Big Morrow because it's the biggest waterhole in the place. Such an important place for Aboriginal people and for the local wildlife, including the yellow-footed rock wallabies, which we haven't seen yet, but we're trying real hard. Maybe better luck next time.
Some of the terrain we've been driving over in the Flinders Ranges is some of the oldest terrain on Earth. It's between 500 and 600 million years old. That's pretty old. What we've got here is conglomerate rock made up of individual rocks that were once part of a mountain range. They've been rolled along a river into an ocean and then they've been packed down into sediment and become another rock. It's mind-blowing, it really is.
Ronnie, lovely little walk here into the gorge. Great place to end episode 2.
Yep, right on the edge of the ranges, mate. The ranges end and the plains begin.
Okay, so mate, we've had a few gorges over the last few days. Where have we been?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? We started in Bracho Gorge in Bunyaroo, that beautiful drive, one of the best in Australia. And then we've been up to Warrawena and done that fantastic drive up to Mount Gill. Bit of time around Willpina and then up through here. Totally different country out this way.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Bracho Gorge has always been one of my favourites.
Yep.
fantastic, but never been to Mount Gill before, and that's the new top of the list. That is my favourite track in the Flinders. That was fantastic.
Well, good.
Driving down through the little canyons at the bottom, then up at those searing heights.
Yeah.
Incredible spot.
Yeah, it was a great drive. It was a great drive. I'm not going to argue with that, mate. So, where to now?
Mate, from here we're heading out onto the plains a bit, aren't we? And then up towards Arkaroola.
Yeah, up through the Gammons. Pretty spectacular up there.
All right, mate, see that for next episode.